All right, hello students. This lesson is the Populist Party lesson, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, the populist means popular, or a large population is interested in these issues, so it eventually becomes the Populist Party. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And it is 1892, and farmers make up 50% of the American population. New farming machineries like the tractor in the picture allows farmers to produce more crops than they did before. Unfortunately, the increased production has caused prices of farm products to steadily decrease. Railroads help farmers sell their products in new markets, but they also make new land accessible for farming, which adds more farms and increases the problem of overproduction. Let's go ahead and go to our worksheet. The first box is overproduction. So as we just read, farmers are producing more than ever, and when you produce too much, the price will drop, and then farmers can't pay their bills. They can't make money. Okay, so overproduction, when you make too much stuff, the price goes down. Okay, so overproduction Okay, so overproduction causes prices to drop, farmers couldn't make money, and farmers couldn't pay their bills. All right, and that's true for any industry. If you overproduce, you have to basically put it on sale in order to sell it, because there's so much of it out there, and that is actually will make it very difficult to make a profit. Back to the reading. Meanwhile, a problem exists with the nation's money supply, which is based on gold. The money supply cannot increase unless the amount of gold also increases, but this hasn't happened. Over the last 30 years of the 1800s, the money supply in America had remained relatively constant, while the supply of goods had tripled. With more and more products to buy the same number of dollars, sellers would have to keep lowering prices in order to attract buyers. This is known as deflation. Okay, so let's keep reading. On top of decreasing prices for farm goods, shipping and storage costs have increased. In addition, shippers charge smaller customers, such as farmers, more than they charged large companies, because large companies are getting a discount for having a bunch more stuff to ship. The shipping rates are lower for them. Also, large companies can negotiate lower rates because of the amount of businesses they bring to the shipping companies. So small farmers are complaining about the shipping prices, because they can't compete, the larger companies can get a discount. So unfair shipping prices. Small farmers are not getting discounts like the large farmers. So the small farmers want the government to control rates so they can compete. All right? All right. Now, as the prices are going down, they're paying more they're losing money because of overproduction. They're not getting the price that they want in order to make money, make a profit, and then they're not getting fair shipping rates like the larger ones, so that makes it even tougher to do business, and they're going into debt. Farmers were not making a profit and couldn't pay their bills. And of course they eventually lose their farms. Okay? All right, and let's just talk about natural disasters. Some of the things that make it very difficult for a farmer to stay in business would be floods, droughts, disease, such as the potato famine like in Ireland, insects, make it additionally difficult to stay in business. Okay? All right, back to the reading. Remember, you can pause this video anytime in order to take notes. All right. As prices constantly drop, more and more farmers get squeezed out of business. They make less money every year for their crops, but the amount they have to pay for loans on their land remains the same. Hundreds of thousands of farmers have decided to leave their farms. Many farmers are angry, and some have teamed up to form what's called now the Populist Party. The Populists are a political group organized to help farmers. Their platform, a platform is their ideas that they support. If you vote for me, here's what I'm going to do. Well, they were saying, if you want us to vote for you, here's some issues that are important to us. So that's their platform. Many farmers are angry and some have teamed up to form the Populist Party. The Populists are a political group organized to help farmers. Their platform in the 1892 election stated, there are but two sides. On one side are the allied host of monopolies and the money power, great trust in railroad corporations. On the other are the farmers, laborers, and merchants, and all the people who produce their wealth. Wealth. The Populists have made some, but not all, of the following proposals for solving farmers' problems. Number one, a graduated income tax should be created. The more money a person makes, the more taxes they should pay to the government. This will help decrease the wide gap between the ultra-rich industrialists and the working poor. A graduated income tax will also provide the government with more funds to help regulate the economy better. This is actually the 16th Amendment. They will cause the 16th Amendment to be passed, which is a graduated income tax. Before 1913, when you got your paycheck, you got to keep all the money. But by this time, the Populists, which is a progressive group, is saying that money needs to be taken out of people's paychecks in order to help those who are in need with programs. So this is basically, graduated means the more you make, the more they take out of your paycheck for taxes. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our chart and fill that one in. It's on the other side of the sheet, the graduated income tax. It actually is the 16th Amendment, which is a graduated, the more you make, the more they take. The more you make, of course we're talking about the government, the more they take. Meaning the government. Let me sharpen my pencil. This is getting too thick. course, they would mean the government. Okay? All right. Okay, back to the reading. The government should take over railroads, telegraphs, and telephone companies and run them as a government service like the post office. Right now, those corporations rip off the little guys, especially the hardworking farmers. It would be better to put control of these businesses in the hands of the people's representatives. So they are, let's go ahead and go to the back. There's one that's called the government ownership of railroads and telegraph. Okay, so basically they want the government to control these parts of the economy because it's very difficult for them to compete, and they want the government to regulate the industries in order to keep the costs down. Now the problem with that is it is socialism, and it prevents competition. And when you lack competition, sometimes you don't have new innovations. What kind of phones would we have if they took over the telephone company and make sure everybody has a low bill and everybody has the same phone? That made it difficult for new technology and maybe not even have a cell phone by today. But railroad companies to control the railroad rates so that everybody's paying the same amount. So this is what they want. They want government controlling these parts of the economy. Okay, so which didn't happen. All right, so government ownership. So populists wanted the government to take over railroads, which are still private today. That didn't happen. Telegraph and telephone companies to regulate prices. Okay, so anyway, that didn't happen, and but this is what they were fighting for: more government control over the parts of the economy, which is really it's aspects of socialism. All right, moving right along. Right now, the amount of money in the economy depends on the amount of gold available. The government should add silver to the money supply, or simply print money not backed by gold. That way, the money supply would expand prices and go up. The farmers would be able to pay off their loans and mortgages. With farmers thriving, other businesses of the farming area would also benefit. So let's go back to our chart here. So the populists wanted to add silver to the money supply because back then gold backed money, and if you only had a set amount of gold, you could only print so much money. So they're saying, why not add silver to the gold standard and be able to print more money so there's more money circulating to buy stuff. Okay, so including their farm products. So the Populist Party wanted silver added to the gold standard to print more money. Okay, to print more money to put in circulation. Okay? All right, so what has happened is by 1970s, Richard Nixon will eliminate the gold standard, and money today is simply backed by what the government pretty much says it's worth. And as long as the economy is good, money is strong. If it's not good, the money gets weaker. A lot of people want to go back to the gold standard so that there's an absolute value backing up money. Okay? All right. Let's go back to the reading. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to catch up. The government should subsidize, which means to pay the difference. Okay, so if farmers aren't making money, then the government should pay them, is what that's basically saying in a nutshell. Give money directly to farmers by paying the cost of planting or perhaps paying off part of the mortgages on land owned by struggling farmers. These people work hard to scratch out a living. The government should help them out. So remember, subsidies are when the government steps in and pays the difference on something or pays for something. And of course, if the government's paying for something, it's really the people paying for it. Okay? In order to get support from city workers, the Populists also supported issues important to factory workers, like an 8-hour workday. With more supporters of the Populist Party, there was a higher chance of making real change. So they're trying to entice the city workers, the factory workers, to join the Populist Party by fighting for the 8-hour workday. Okay? Populists fought for the 8-hour workday, which was successful. That did come to be, to involve factory workers into their causes. In the party. Okay? All right, going back to the reading. Americans should vote directly for senators instead of the current system. If senators are elected directly by the people, the federal government would be more responsive to the needs of all Americans and not just the rich trusts that have the money to bribe and buy votes. So this is going to the direct election of senators. This is actually the 17th Amendment. A long time ago, before the Populist Party, your state congressman would vote for you to vote for your senator in Washington. Well, the Populist Party said that could lead to corruption, so we want to vote directly for our own senators. So the 17th Amendment is direct election of senators. We'll vote for our senators, not our Congress, or state Congress. Thank you very much. So it puts the power, it's more people power, so it's more popular sovereignty. Through voting. Okay? All right. Okay, let's go ahead and finish these right quick. Term limits for presidents. They fought for making it an actual constitutional amendment. Since George Washington, every president up until FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, every president served 4 years in a term and no more than 2, so 8 years total. But they were afraid that if there's not a constitutional amendment, that one day there'll be somebody get in power and not step down. So they fought. It actually will be passed. Eventually going to be the 22nd Amendment. But so what they were fighting for does come to pass. So they wanted, actually populists, the populists fought for an amendment to limit the number of terms a president could serve. Now, they didn't see it. The Populist Party will disappear, but it will be the 22nd Amendment in the future. So it's something they fought for that did come to pass eventually, but they didn't see it. Okay? And then the secret ballot. Remember the political machines? We learned about political machines. If they found out who you voted for, they could break some kneecaps, and they forced people to vote for who they wanted to. A secret ballot would eliminate that problem, wouldn't it? It also, today we have secret ballots. You don't want your boss to know how you vote. And so, because they might not give you that promotion if you have different political beliefs. So this was something that the Populist Party fought for, and we do have today. Okay? voting became a private issue. Voters are protected. Okay? Now, immigration quotas. They also, the Populist Party wanted immigration reform. They actually wanted quotas, which means a set number coming in, because they were saying that immigrants coming in were taking jobs. So they fought for immigration restrictions, quotas. Populists wanted limits, which is a quota. Sorry. A set number. Instead of just letting an unrestricted amount of people coming in, they wanted to set limits on immigration to protect jobs. Okay? All right. So, okay, so this is, I'm just going to stop here, and I'll make a second part of the video for this part of the sheet and for this part of the worksheet. So I will be making a second video when after school, where I have more time to finish it, and I'll post it with this video. Thank you.